everybody, welcome to Starseed Oracle. It has been a second since I have made a video, but I'm really happy to be back today for this reading. I just got really inspired this afternoon through the Sun square Pluto to do a reading centered around that energy. So we're looking today at unlocked potential and kind of what is the key right now to your next progression, your next expansion, transformation, level up, etc. So we've got 3 groups today, and I think I'm just going to keep this really short at that. So whatever crystal you're being drawn to here, we have the clear quartz with pile 1 and the Smokey amethyst point for pile 2. And this Labradorite palm stone for pile 3. So thanks for checking out the video today. I hope these messages offer you a little bit of guidance or insight into what is coming up for you, and we'll see what it brings. I'm sending lots of love your way, and I will see you in your reading. Bye. Hey, pile 1, y'all chose the crystal point here. I'm just gonna set it up here for now. And yeah, today we're looking at what is the key to unlocking this potential or this big transformation that's about to happen. We have a Sun square Pluto in the sky and a lot of dynamic energy, especially with Pluto making its final move into Aquarius really soon in November. So it's this massive shift of energy, a new point in time, a new door opening. And I was really being told not to draw, to do everything on camera. So we're doing that today. Just to be spontaneous about it. So for the first question, I'll just give you a quick rundown. There's only 4 questions. It's what is this key that, what is the key, essentially? And then the second question is, what is it opening into? The light aspects of it and the more shadow aspects of this level up or this transformation. And then we'll look at the integration and the blessings of the level up and transformation. So, all right, let's get started. So this deck is going to be pulling a card here for what is the key at this time. Or my collective watching pile 1. What is the key to their next transformation? Okay. Wow, we have the world coming out. Okay, big endings and shifts. Whoa, and the ace will take this too, the ace of wands on the back. Yes, you are absolutely ready for some kind of massive new start. I'm just gonna take this in here. It could be pertaining as well to literally physically needing to move to a new place, to have a completely new perspective. And the key that's opening up this next transformation has a lot to do with your physical environment literally changing, or everything that you once knew literally shifting to be something else. This could also just be a perspective shift that is so intense that it literally feels like you're living in a new world altogether, which is allowing this I'm hearing untapped passion, this untapped desire within you that feels ancient maybe, or very, very connected to your soul essence and the reason for you incarnating, that it's actually finally rising to the surface. This is actually giving me the sensation of energy rising up the spine or in the body, a spiritual awakening sort of situation here, which, if this is the key, it almost makes me feel like putting yourself in situations that are very like unknown to you as a way to unlock this transformation, focusing upon certain practices, spiritual practices, breathwork practices, whatever, even creative works that get you into this place of, what's the word? Altered states, like things that can get you into altered states. I think there's a fine line with that too, like needing some kind of control in that space so that you actually understand, or even like time afterwards for integration, I should say. I don't know, I have lots of thoughts about it, but I don't need to go into it in this reading. You know yourself best, so whatever that's bringing up for you, you know, whatever feels right or resonant around that, that there might be a lot of opportunity for you to get into this, but I'm feeling a sense of discipline here with this, weirdly. I don't know why, but this need to work on fine-tuning perhaps these experiences within the body and within your own expression so that you can more deeply feel into what the passion actually is that's rising inside of you. So yeah, this is really interesting, but it absolutely feels like you are like leaving an entire world behind for a new one, which is really beautiful to see coming out right away with just this being the key. So the next questions we have is like essentially if the key is unlocking, right? So what are we opening up into? And we'll look at the light and shadow aspect of that. And just to clarify, shadow doesn't mean bad. It's literally like what is hidden from you, right? Like what you don't see. So yeah. So with that, what deck do I want to use for this group? Use the Thoth deck. So for those of you watching pile 1, let me see. How's the light? So, what are the light aspects and shadow aspects of this level up or transformation? What are the light aspects? Conscious aspects. This level up. Entering. Whoa. Okay, that was a lot. That's too many. I kind of feel like just taking that one. Okay. Although, and we'll take this one too. Wow. Oh, actually, wow. You have 3 6s. We'll take that as the conscious, so the light aspect. And then let's shuffle for the... And that was, I think, Princess of Cups. Which is interesting. That was like emotional presence with these things. It's interesting that 6662 is very like matter, material realm number coming out there. Things that you absolutely are seeing in the material. So it makes sense that's coming out for the light or conscious aspect here. And then for the shadow of this transformation, what can we see? Watching pile 1. sun is on the back, which is kind of interesting for the shadow. Okay, let me just arrange this really quickly. Group 1. I keep for some reason hearing like clean break or something which feels aligned with this like world Ace of Wands energy. It's almost like whatever it was that you have stepped through and left behind, it really feels like a giant perspective shift with the 666 coming through of a sense of deep inner and outer harmony happening simultaneously. So this, you know, moving away from places where you felt really imbalanced in connections and maybe unfulfilled into ones that feel very deeply rooted and supportive of your emotional state and of like wanting to actually reciprocate fully in the situation. Yeah, group 1, it's like something's coming together here. With the way the Six of Swords has all the swords pointed to the heart, and I'm like looking at this kind of lotus flower in the center here, it's like you understand something now very important about your essence that's helping drive forward or create this new experience, which is very emotionally satisfying. And this card actually happens to be the Sun in Scorpio. And I love that it came out for this reading because literally the sun just moved into Scorpio probably a few hours ago as I'm recording this. So that feels special that the Six of Cups would come out. And there's some sort of promise here of a very aligned new start in this transformation, one where it almost, this level up has a lot to do with just the fact that you have reached a place of a lot of internal understanding about who you are and what you want to do with that information at this point in time. And I think it's curious that in the shadow, like that feels very apparent here with this being the light aspects, like what's conscious, right? And with the shadow pieces being the Princess of Wands and the Seven of Pentacles, it almost makes me feel like what is hidden is the eternal child, is the forever student and curious one who is never in this place, right? Who's never in that place of assurance or like complete alignment because they're just so open and free and interested and curious in the world and in exploring whatever it is that is coming to them and making their soul light on fire. So that's interesting that that's in the shadow part, which is kind of like, you know, when we talk about doing shadow work, that there is that gold in the shadows that we lose because of how we just have to go through processes where all of it's being suppressed over our lives for various points, at various points in time for various reasons, right? So this is a big opportunity, I think. What I love, actually, this is very beautiful, that you have the world here, which reflects these cards that are in the conscious awareness. Then we have the Ace of Wands, which feels connected to this Princess of Wands and that energy of spontaneity and curiosity that is forever flowing through you. So it's like a dual opening, both to where you have leveled up to now already in your life, and then also moving into this state here of just an openness. And I think with this Seven of Pentacles coming through with the word failure here, there is a fear, I believe, associated with this inner child, that if you follow a path in that way, this is like in the hidden aspects of self, right? Like through this next transformation, it seems like part of the more hidden material that you're working with has to do with, yeah, but if I am just following my inhibitions, right? Like if I'm just wild and free and doing what I want, that in some way the seeds I've planted are going to die, or that those aren't going to be like there's an impatient, it could be around impatience as well, that like leading a life that way, you can't actually build things. It could be struggling to feel like someone who is constantly in this perpetual like needing to gain more knowledge then could never be wise enough to see the fruits of their labor, or feel like they're not good enough, right? Or have actually even like a fear or a distaste perhaps for like becoming more of a leader or becoming more of a person who has that kind of level of responsibility. So these might be some of the shadow like pieces coming up through this next level up that you'll just be facing as you are moving into this part of life where it's clear that you're coming from such a more deeply integrated place in your life, and in a way that you're actually able to make physical changes in your life that maybe you weren't able to before. Like making big moves, making decisions for yourself that are putting you in line for the things that you desire, and actually bringing it forward. So it is kind of these competing, it's almost like the adult and the child parts of you that are going to be in this need to be addressed at different points in times, and integrated through whatever this next transformation is happening, as it's happening. So, I mean, this could be, I know I'm speaking rather like intangibly or whatever. This is more just like vibes, not as much like what is this transformation. So hopefully this is making sense, but I mean, it really could be related to any part of life. Like this could just be the relationships that you're calling forward are going to feel more aligned with who you are as a person now. They're going to feel way more emotionally fulfilling and reciprocated as well, and deeper, and just more connected to your soul, like meeting soul family, or people who just feel very, very you feel very at home with and excited for life by, people who you want to grow with. This could be connected to your work or to whatever is inspiring you to want to continue to wake up every morning, right? It could literally be anything, but I feel such a deep sense of harmony coming into your life with like a brewing, with like a never-ending fire or something that's with it, that's always kind of in the shadow here, leading you on. And that's the thing, like our shadows, our unconscious self is kind of taking the show. That's what happens when we don't bring it to the light. And so in a way, it's like your child self is kind of leading the show to some degree in this new chapter. And maybe as well this like fear of failure, or a fear of, is it enough? These could be old fears too. I don't know. However, this is, speaking to you in this moment that you are just going to be having to be present with again, right? I think I'm just going to draw the last card here, and then we'll say if anything else comes up. So the final card is for what are the integrated blessings of this level up? And I'm being drawn to use this deck. Let's see. So for the folks watching Power 1, what are the integration and blessings of this transformation? pronouncing that correctly. And boat. It really feels like with this as the blessing and the integration coming through, that you're going to be feeling deeply in flow in your life in a way where you're living your dharma, if that makes sense. So instead of feeling like you're subject to fate, I'm going to read this from the book. This word maktub in Arabic translates to "it is written." And it's the idea of predestination or destiny. So, like God, creator, already knows everything that ever was or ever will be because it's already been written. And the mantra here is what I wanted to read. It's really nice. It says, I flow with fate, but also understand my conscious freedom to mold, shape, and create each day of my life. I choose to be an architect of experience, to embrace the wisdom of the mysterious and the sacredness of creation's light. So I really get this sense, and with reflection and boat, the boat card speaks to literally understanding that you navigate every single day of your life, like no matter what the waters below you are doing, right? That you're still the one driving the ship. And I feel through this next transformation, these blessings are going to be that you're having a way better handle upon this way of flowing through life than you've ever had before, which is an incredible blessing for anyone who lives in this life and in this world, which can be really challenging at times, especially when things start to feel very put upon you or fated in ways that are incredibly difficult to manage. And with the 3 6s coming out over here, it just really feels like you are reaching a point of inner and outer harmony that maybe you haven't been able to access in the past. And what that's doing for you through actively reflecting also upon these shadowy pieces is this ability to move and weather through the storms of life and to continually reconnect, like I was saying at the beginning, with this what really feels like the rising like soul essence energy, very much connecting to higher parts of self or more expansive parts of self, future versions of yourself, just getting information more clearly around what's right for you intuitively, and being able to make the decisions no matter what's coming your way, whether it feels fated or not. Like, okay, so it feels fated, but what now? Like, we still have to live this day, right? And we still have to live tomorrow. Like, it feels like you are reaching through this next portal, like level up situation, like moving through this gateway, that you are reaching a point of stability internally that is then helping your external world reflect that more fully. That even feels true for this too, with the like all the 6, that number. It feels like a mirrored energy even in itself, which makes me feel like your inner world is very much mirroring your outer world in a way that maybe hasn't, like you've been striving for but haven't quite gotten there, because there's like this release of feeling like you need to force things. It's just coming a lot more naturally, which is again another really huge blessing. And I think this shadow piece is interesting, like if you're watching this, to just play with, you know, like whenever, I think the shadow is a very fascinating and important part of us always, like the untapped material that we're afraid of sometimes. And I think that this 7 of Pentacles is actually pointing to that there might be a lot of gold if you just sit with the things that are bringing you fear around not succeeding. Because it's interesting, we have success on this side and failure on this side, right? So like you might even see yourself succeeding at this point in time, but still have these fears of failure happening in the same moment. And it's like, well, what's true, right? And I think instead of running away from the failure or thinking like, that's just the shadow, it doesn't matter. Actually asking yourself, like in this moment, like facing it head on, right? Like literally asking okay, if this is worst case scenario, like what is it I'm so afraid of? What is the actual failure that I'm afraid of in this moment? And like letting it speak, letting it come out, because the more that we resist things, the more that they just continue to nag at us, right? Or like want our attention and sort of guide the show in these very subconscious and sometimes can be ways that we really wouldn't want them to come through. Definitely messes with our work in the world, I would say. So the more we can sit with our fears, the better all outcomes are going to be, and the more compassion that then we gain for ourselves. Like you don't sit with them and say, I shouldn't have these things, you know, like this is unreasonable. But if you can really be present to them and understand that they're clearly coming up for a reason, and if there's a way for you to sort of hear it out completely, it's almost like when people are, I'm just thinking of people who have really biased opinions on certain things, and all you have to do is continue to ask them questions, and it's like slowly unravels the truth behind it. That's what it feels like with our fears a lot of the time, especially the ones that are like the loudest. The more that we can literally be fearless, and we are moving into Sun and Scorpio time. If you're watching this when I'm filming, regardless, that's the energy that is here now, and Pluto is moving into Aquarius, and so it's like a whole new territory of our fears, because Pluto does represent fears. So I would really encourage you, you know, Aquarius is such an innovative sign, to like play around with your fears, you know, like figure out ways that are helpful for you to approach them in a like a structured way, or like not in a way of like trying to dominate the fear, but literally just like, what is that saying of like sitting down with your demons or something for tea? Or was the Buddha, was that like inviting like that those things in for like coffee or something, you know, whatever. You know what I'm trying to say here, that story. Like we sit down and we listen to them calmly, and it really can transform things. And I actually feel if you do that work, there's a lot more that's going to support these blessings to come through, because it's just going to continue to amplify your ability to handle whatever's coming forward, and for you to continue moving forward and understand that whatever you're doing is meaningful, and clearly you're in an aligned place where you have a lot of understanding of what you want to be moving towards. And so not to let those fears undercut you and make you start to believe that you're moving in the wrong direction, or you have it all mixed up, or whatever it might be, but to just listen to them and see where it starts to unravel, so you can return to the truth again and again and again. And I believe that's the blessing that is really coming through, is that you are going to be finding this kind of consistency and ability to return to your truth over and over again, which helps when the, you know, waters start to get, there's fog on the water and it's like shaky or something, and you are the light, right? You're the lighthouse itself, guiding your own self through that territory. And you don't have to question over and over again every single action that you're taking here, because it's just going to be a lot easier to navigate those time periods without causing yourself harm too, without causing more stress for yourself, and just, yeah, finding a more peaceful way forward no matter what's going on around you. So awesome. Thank you so much, Pile One, for checking out this reading today. I hope this was supportive for you and interesting, and I send you many blessings on this amazing new opening, transformative process, this level up that you're going through, and hopefully I'll see y'all in another reading. Much love. Bye. Hi, Group 2. Y'all chose the Smokey Amethyst, and I'll set that up here for now. So today we're looking at what is the key to this unlocked potential, to your next level up, next transformation, next progression, expansion, etc., etc. And so I'll get a card. I was very clearly told just to draw the cards on camera today for some reason. So we're doing that. So this first card is just going to be about the key. And then we'll get some cards to look at if this key is opening a door, right? It's opening into what? So what is the light aspects and the shadow aspects, or like conscious and subconscious aspects of this transformation coming up, of this level up coming up? And then we'll look at some cards for the integration and blessings of this experience, of this level up and transformation. So with that being said, folks who are watching pile 2, what is the key for them right now into this next level up? Tower come out first, the Knight of Wands with the Ace of Coins, and the Chariot. Wow, this feels like a lot of fast moving, like needing to take action, whether that's like after some sort of intense tower moment. So these are all representing the key to your next transformation and level up, which makes me feel like this is very much connected to embracing whatever changes that you cannot control coming, and then responding from a place of understanding the potential within this destruction, the potential that you have the opportunity to kind of seize the day from whatever is going on. Yeah, it's like, this is really powerful. Like no matter what this is, so it might be that you have already, or you are about to, like, have some very dramatic change happen in life, whether that's in your physical environment or internally, some kind of revelation coming through, something that feels like it is hitting your foundations in life, whether that's your foundation of as a person or your belief system or something along those lines, or like literally your home life, or, you know, like not having a place to live for a moment, or like getting breaking up with someone who you've been with for a very long time. It's like something very established is transforming and is basically being destroyed so that you can move forward with a much stronger foundation. And it feels like the key to working through this and entering into this new level up has to do with how much you are seizing the day, like I said, from this, seeing this tower as the opportunity of a lifetime, really is kind of the sense I'm getting here, to almost be like the fire underneath you, within you, coming up from a place that maybe you haven't felt in quite a while, to propel you forward into this incredible fresh start in the material world, with this Ace of Pentacles coming through. And this is a very like abundant feeling Ace of Pentacles, with the flowers blooming around it as well. And there's an ease to it too, which is interesting that it sits kind of between these two very strong forward momentum, forward charging cards, with the Knight of Wands and the Chariot. Yeah, so I think this is very much encouraging you that the key moving into this next part of life has to do with your ability to access that charge and that force within you that is so, I mean, it could be like you're literally enraged by a situation, or just, I mean, it can be like enraged, empowered, or feeling like ecstatic. Like, it's kind of that feeling when like something changes so quickly like that, it like totally changes your dimension of reality. Like everything has to change, and there is an excitement, even if it's a horrible event that has happened. It's like nothing will ever be the same, and there's so much power within that, and I feel like you are internalizing that power and using it for your growth and for your new direction. And I love both of these people, and these cards are like looking off to which seems like the future, right? They're not looking back at the tower in any way. Even the animal is like looking in this direction, and these are like facing directly forward. But it's like, yeah, and with the star on top of the chariot's driver's head, it's just like, okay, any dream that felt stagnated in the past, or like was impossible when you were under this foundation, it's like things are blown open now. Like things are possible. It's almost like embracing this tower is giving you some kind of new incredible life force to move forward. It really does feel that way. It's like a starting an engine or something inside of you when you didn't even like know that you had an engine, maybe. And it's really directing your flow in a powerful way. So the key really seems to be, whenever or whatever this tower moment is, to allow it to be sort of the fire upon the gasoline inside that is just like shooting you off into creating a very abundant, a very beautiful, and necessary new road, a new path in life that's going to be much more, I don't know, just much more inspired, at least at this point. But I want to get more cards for what this is actually opening up into for you. So what deck do I want to use? We'll do the Wild Unknown. Okay. So for the folks watching pile 2, if it's opening into light and shadow, what can we see about how it's opening up? So what are the light aspects, the conscious aspects of this transformation? This actually feels kind of straightforward to me when I'm looking at this in terms of like what is conscious and unconscious, that in the light space, in the conscious space, you're actually like things that were hidden in the past, right? These things that were sort of like lost in the tower situation, in the foundations, you know, you didn't see certain cracks, right? It's like now everything's exposed. Like you understand how this happened, and this next transformative process is moving you into a place where you understand, you're like learning the lessons of that very clearly and finding success, right? Like learning how to rise above that situation and like it's almost like being launched up into the sky, like from this situation. It's just like such significant clarity coming from it. And then with the Magician coming out as well, it's like I'm never going back there. Like I'll never let myself get back in that situation. Or I mean, it might not be that extreme actually. It might just be more like wanting more control and understanding of like, how do I make sure I'm not in such an unconscious place again? Which is why it's interesting that in then the shadow piece we have the Mother of Swords, the Queen of Swords, and the Star, because it's kind of like this Magician looking over here at this Mother of Swords, which is that like feels like such a wise and like integral being who knows the truth and knows their truth specifically, especially, and can read people, right? And is like really good at assessing environments, knowing what's what. And with the Star here, it's almost like understanding within your own deepest authenticity what your own beliefs are, what your own dreams are, what actually brings healing into your life, into your experiences, how you connect with things that are beyond you, what you believe about that. So it's sort of like this being in the unconscious sphere. It's like your conscious self is actually staring directly at it. Like, I need to know these things, you know, like very curious and very open in this time period to get to the bottom of that situation, especially with the moon being in the conscious place. It's like you are totally online now with wanting to make sure that you are uncovering as much as you possibly can in every like step forward in life, so that you're not kind of tripped up in these ways again. And it might not, like, I think sometimes speaking in that kind of sense, it can be like you're doing it out of fear, but I don't think it's out of fear. I think you're actually like, it's more just assessing and understanding how much of an opportunity it is when we can learn from the past. And so this feels like a big moment where it's like, because you understand that, like, you are succeeding and rising above the situation, and beyond that you're like integrating the experience so you can go even further. And there is clearly a lot in the unconscious, in the shadow here, that can bring you so much gold for even beyond this particular transformation, or that is helping you through this next level up, because it's bringing you much, much closer to what is actually truly authentic for you moving forward, given the past, what has happened, what is this new foundation that you want to bring forward. You know, it's like, well, I want it to be completely aligned with my dreams, but what are my dreams? You know, it's time to really ask those kinds of questions of yourself. And I feel like you're ready here, and that is a big part of this next level up, is getting much, much closer even to maybe what could be considered like the reason that you incarnated here, or understanding more deeply what those desires were that you came into your life wanting to fulfill, the karma that you brought into this life, right? The things that you as a soul wanted to walk through and to experience here. It just seems like the time is ripe for that to be happening. And yeah, you're like, there's a very fearless energy about it. You're just like staring right into the shadow, like, okay, like this could actually be potentially, this level up have a lot to do with shadow work and with going into the deeper, like scarier places, the unfamiliar territory within yourself, and to be able to find, you know, your own light inside. And I think even this tower moment, whatever it is, maybe has just given you a lot of bravery, because the way that you have used it as the key itself to unlock this incredible, like, moving forward, this progression, this expansion in your consciousness and in your awareness. It's like, I'm almost getting that sense of like compost, you know, like nothing is left unused, or nothing is seen as useless. Like everything has purpose and meaning, and you're actually reaching a point in your life where you're feeling that way and understanding it and really wanting to like milk it for what it's worth, I guess. Yeah, so let's look at the final card, which is the integration and blessing of this level up and transformation. And I kind of want to use the Starseed Oracle for this. So for the collective, watching how to, what can they see as the integration and blessing? Look at that, you have star 3 times now. Star Keeper, Star Brothers, and the Star card. I love that. Okay, so we have Cosmic Ancestor, seed the light by staying grounded, and Star Brothers, Horus energy, protection, loyalty, safety, and trust. I just feel like they should be together. Actually, maybe I'll do this. These cards are so nice to come out as the blessing and integration, because it feels like an opening and a softening into trust of yourself and of the cosmos as a whole. I really want to read the Star Brothers one, especially with the Tower coming out. It just felt, there's a line in here, it's safe to open the back of your heart. Like, I don't know why, but that really, like, that line really just gets me, that concept of like, ooh, like opening literally the back of your heart and feeling like it can be safe to do that. And especially when we go through these events, like this feels almost like immediate response, having to take immediate action, but not necessarily like, there's not softness here, right? Like that's not present. It's like the need to act quickly. And so I think what's coming through all of this is like you're moving into a blessing and into an integrated time where it is going to be safe to soften in that way. And I don't usually like to read from books, but I'm going to read this one because I think it's really nice. And for those of you who are experiencing this, I think this might feel really good to hear. So the Star Brothers card says, "You're more protected than you can imagine. It's safe to open the back of your heart. You're being called to be open to receiving a new level of support now from those in your life and from the benevolent beings you're connected with. Through ancestral patterning, current life traumas, and past karmic impressions, many of us have become mistrustful and suspicious of loyalty and have blocks when it comes to receiving support. We've learned that we need to go at life alone, that it's not safe to let our guard down and our heart open, that the world isn't a friendly place. The Star Brothers want you to have a new experience of life on Earth. They want you to feel deeply secure and safe, even if you're going through a difficult time. They want you to hand over your fears to them, to see them as opportunities to let in more love. They're guiding you to stay open to receiving a greater level of support than you can ever imagine, both in this world and beyond. To call in your team of loyal protectors and supporters, both physically and energetically. They want you to learn to soften through life's ups and downs, and to learn to open your heart, especially when it most wants to harden. Ooh, the light just went out like right as I was like, when it wants to harden. Oh, let's get a new candle in here. Hold on one second. Okay, we're lighting a candle for trusting again and not hardening our hearts. That's what's happening right now. So yeah, that coming through as an integration and a blessing. What feels like is actually happening here is that through this experience, it is such a rattling event, and something that has brought enough change to where you're shifting into a new level of understanding and perception that is calling in different experiences for yourself, new people, places, things, etc., that are actually more aligned with consciousness, like a higher levels of consciousness, to a place where things like softening your heart can be safer, right? Where trusting doesn't have to be as scary and doesn't have to be so much like connected to fears of abandonment or something like that, whatever it might be. Like maybe this was facing a situation of like loss that could trigger deep wounds around abandonment. I don't know, and I just feel these two working in tandem, these two cards, the Star Keeper, which feels like a more internal journey with your own understanding, your own gifts that you want to plant in this life, this particular life, that are coming from higher guidance, from your higher self, and understanding of your significance, your light that you're here to bring in this life, and then connected to this idea of safety and loyalty, even in a galactic sense and a cosmic sense, of these beings who are clearly here for you and wanting to protect you and offer their comfort. I'm thinking of this idea of how like our emotions are literally their own dimensions, and I just heard someone speaking about how gratitude is literally how we access our higher self, the feeling, the sensation, the bodily understanding how like the feeling of what gratitude feels like brings us into that dimension where we're able to meet our higher self. And I get through this experience that you're actually like able to do that more freely in a way where you're much more trusting of the world being a place that's okay for you to be in, that's safe for you to be in now. It's almost like the worst has happened. The worst thing you could imagine potentially has happened, and now you've seen that you not only like survived through it, but like were blessed by it in some way. And like, I don't know, it's like, okay, wow, what's next? Like, what happens after the most scary thing, goes down, right? Like, you get to have an entirely new experience and to express that in whatever way you want. I don't know what this is for you exactly, but it just feels like there's so much potential and just a deepening of trust in this human experience as a whole, which is such an incredible like integration and blessing to have. in a transformation process like this. So I'm gonna leave it there. Thank you, Pile 2, for hanging out with me today. I think this was really beautiful messages to come through. I hope that this was supportive for you at this time and whatever you're going through. Please be gentle with yourself and like excited for you for these fires that are coming up to allow you to move forward and progress in this really powerful way in your life, and to create foundations for softening and for deepening into trust. It's really beautiful. So I hope that you all have a wonderful evening or morning, and whenever you're watching this. Sorry, I'm just rambling because it's hard for me to say goodbye. I love you all, and hopefully I'll see you in another reading. Bye. Hi, Pile 3. I'll choose the Labradorite palm stone, which I'll put up here. And we're looking at unlocked potential, the key to your next level up, expansion, transformation, progression, etc. So this deck, we're gonna draw a card for the key, the actual key itself that's unlocking this, and then we'll get some cards pertaining to so if we have a key opening a door, what are we opening up into? What are the light aspects of that and the shadow, or the conscious and unconscious bits of that level up situation or transformation? And then we'll get a final message that's what is the integration and the blessing of this particular transformation. So all right, they've been interesting so far. Both groups have been really interesting. I had to switch the candle out because it went out, so sorry, it's a different color for your group. And I got a very clear message just to do all of the cards, shuffling and drawing them on camera, so I'm doing that today. So for the folks watching Pile 3, what is the key to their next level up, or transformation, to their next progression? What is the key for them? Slippery cards. Alright, no, I'm not going to take those. We'll just do these 3. We have the 3 of Cups, the 8 of Coins, and the King of Coins. So for these to come through as the key, it feels like there's multiple things happening here. So it's I love that there's so much jubilance and celebration and happiness in all of these cards, especially in the 8 of Coins. You don't usually actually see that. And this person looks fairly relaxed in holding this coin. Usually it's someone who's very steadily at work, and it gives me this sense that there's a need for this to be the key into the next transformation that you're going through, for work to feel, whatever your work is that you're doing, to feel like a joy to you, to feel inspiring and silly and fun and connecting, especially with this Three of Cups. This feels like networking in a way when it's connected with these Pentacle cards. And having fun with it and embodying a version of you that is not just trying to have a job so that you can, you know, pay the bills. That's not what this is feeling like. It feels like the key to whatever this next transformation is literally becoming the embodiment of a person who is joyfully at work, where their life's work doesn't feel like work. It feels like play. It feels like connection. It feels like emotional satisfaction with others, where your work is uplifting and celebrating other people, or just creating in a way that is deeply satisfying and fun at the same time. And if this sounds appealing to you and this isn't where you're at, I think this is being the key piece to the reading, that it's saying, try to step into these roles as much as you can, even on like a feeling sense or a questioning sense of like, what would it feel like if I were someone who enjoyed my job, you know? Like, what would my day look like if I were that person? Really to step into those shoes and understand, like, yeah, if I was this King of Pentacles right now, right, where I was like, here is my harvest, here's my feast for all of you to enjoy, like, I am in control of the material. It's like master of materials. If you were this person, and if you were literally joyfully going about your job, no matter how mundane it is, but you truly were coming from this place of like happiness, because there's some fulfillment there for you, no matter what it is. I think we can find fulfillment in anything, and that's the whole key to like the idea of flow, right? Is no matter what it is, if we can enter into our flow state, that's an intense presence with what it is we're doing, and that often brings such a deep sense of satisfaction when we can enter into flow state with our work, especially. And I think it's such a big part of unlocking whatever this level up is for you, is to be becoming more and more a person who's approaching particularly your material world and how you earn. I mean, this feels very connected with the Pentacles to how you are earning a living, how you are like engaged in the material world and seen as successful to yourself and to others as well. And the deep satisfaction that can come with being very hardworking. I would be curious if you want to look in your chart, wherever Saturn is in your chart, and if it's making any harmonious aspects, like a trine or a sextile to any other planets. That might give you some more like information into this key of how you can tap in with like a more a way to bring like joy into it, or something different, like a different flavor into that kind of Saturnian, very like time, one foot in front of the other. It can feel a bit monotonous and difficult and oppressive too, because Saturn, wherever it is in our chart, is like the place that we will spend the most time, right, in like learning and devoting ourselves. And I think when we can fall into this understanding of how that can actually be really delicious and really satisfying, especially when we start to recognize and appreciate these mundane things and see our progress bit by bit and find a lot of pleasure and satisfaction within that, yeah, it can be really amazing. So I feel like that is kind of the key here to this. And let's look at what this is opening then for you. And what deck do I want to use? All right, I keep being pulled, even though, I don't know, my logical mind says not to use this one, but I keep being pulled to this one. So we'll use this one. I think because it's so not like it's not material, and this feels very material, but like maybe there's a reason for that. So we'll find out. I'm sure there's really important messages in here. So for pile 3, what is the light within this level up for transformation? The light seen, the conscious part. this one as well. The Four of Swords is on the back. Or wait, is that the Four? I think that's the Four of Cups, actually. Okay. Let me just rearrange. Group 3, it feels like in this, the conscious, like, light aspect that you're moving, that this transformation is bringing forward, is the ability to move past projections of others and meet each other more from an honest place. I love that you have participation and sharing. It's almost like you're so aware, like you've moved into this energy of embodying who you want to be, which is naturally drawing in others who are meeting you in that place. And it is kind of helping you move past maybe where before there were these ways where you were kind of projecting almost this level of confidence or excitement about work onto other people and wanting them, you know, to having expectations upon them that really were meant to be reflections for you, right? To see how you could change in your own life to progress, right? In these ways that you really wanted. Or, I don't know, I just feel like here there's like an honesty happening, and it's really supporting bringing out equal give and take, and in a way where you're able, like, I love that the Three of Cups and the Four of Wands is here together, because it feels like you're coming together with a community, and in such a like a blossoming way where everyone is really being seen and given equal opportunity to contribute, and like just be part of something bigger. Like this card specifically like speaks about being able to create something that couldn't happen unless every single person were there to be a part of it. So I get this sense like that this is in the light. This is the light coming forward through this transformation or level up, where you're just like drawing or being drawn in maybe to communities where you are able to bring this own new sense of who you are into them in a way that is greatly transforming those spaces for the betterment of everyone. Like you're working as a team, and it's creating this kind of ripple effect into the communities around you, and there's no more of this confusion around, well, what can they give me, you know, because you're so much in a place of satisfaction. That's not even really a question you need to be asking anymore, which I think when we reach that place where we stop like looking for others to satisfy ourselves, it really, really, really changes what we're actually capable of producing and how we're able to interact with other people in general. And so for on the shadow piece here, which is just like the unconscious stuff coming through, or the material you might be working with through in this transformative time, in this level up, has a lot to do, it seems, with, like, I'm just drawn to these, this person in silence, and this mastery over these voices, right? Like literally finding peace in the emotional overwhelm, because this is the water element here. So it could be, and you have the moon as well with past lives, like it could be a time of like, there is a way that using affirmations or telling yourself certain things logically, or seeing life in a certain way so that you can level up, can only go so far until you like kind of go splat into all of those unearthed emotions that tell you otherwise, right? Or that are just continually present in the mind. And I think this moment, like this is the King of Swords in here as well, is just like being shown through this control card. This deck is not very nice to the mind at all, or the swords as a whole. So I think like for a message of this being in the shadow, it is very much like that part of the King of Swords that can be trying to control logically like their environment so intensely, his environment, that it creates almost like a lifelessness because it's so rigid. And yet it's funny, it's like here's this rigidity and then this like incredible depth of emotion, right? So it could be that as you're going through this process, you have these moments. These feel very, very different. And like, I don't know, this might catch you off guard because I'm feeling that, whoa, I have all of these like very, very deep feelings that I actually have not processed yet or understood yet. Maybe it is because you've been more focused on the material, and that's totally fine and important too. And something that does lead us into emotional states. And I think it's beautiful that you actually have this like community coming through and that you have this awareness to see people clearly and all of that going on in the light piece, because I think it's actually maybe it's time then that this is rising to the surface and it's opening up this ability to be more present to the emotions, the depth. Like maybe you never saw yourself as someone who had a lot of emotions, and suddenly when you're like surrounded by people who are more aligned with you, where you're experiencing more joy in your life, it's tapping you into the parts of you that do not feel that way and actually have felt very alone and unable to come to the surface because it didn't feel safe until now. And so the like unseen part of this journey could just have a lot to do with you needing to release control and needing to kind of drop your guard and let some of this come up in ways that feel comfortable to you. And I think this card is clearly suggesting, if you have a meditation practice, to deepen into that more, or if you don't, to, you know, start figuring out ways that you can get comfortable sitting in silence and sitting with it, being still. Like stillness feels really important to this because there's like a lot of movement and excitement going on in your life. And to be able to tap in, even if it's that this is just going on a walk by yourself and trying to just pay attention to the thoughts that are going through your mind, but then bringing it back to the natural environment, right? Like it's calling the awareness back again and again and again. And then, just being cognizant of what it is that's coming forward. You don't have to understand it. I feel like with this too, with the past lives, it's like, oh, we could have, who knows? Like no one fully knows what is beyond, right? Or like what we've lived before. Like we can speculate, we can have our own understanding of cosmology, but we don't fully know. This feels like you are tapping into the mystery, or you're like dipping a toe in, or it's coming forward, it's coming up. These things that are very maybe confusing to you, or just feel out of left field and just like, I don't know what to do with this information. Like my logical mind doesn't know what to actually do with this information, or this like vision I saw of myself, or this feeling, this depth of feeling that I have that makes no sense. Things like that I feel like could be popping up. And I want to say it's happening because you have this kind of very blessed energy coming through in the conscious piece of the transformation. And so I really, like I think this tuning in, or turning in, it's not tuning in, that's funny, turning in is just kind of a piece of advice here of like, when you meet those moments, to see it as opportunity and to not be afraid of it, because our shadow is also our oh my gosh, I totally lost my thought. The shadow is fear, right? Like the shadow can hold our fears as well, and they don't just hold like bad things, they can hold the gold within them. And with Pluto moving into Aquarius, finally, we've had Pluto in Aquarius for a good part of the year, but it moved back into, for the last time, Capricorn over the last month, and now it will be finally moving into Aquarius. And it's like, it's interesting too, because Aquarius is like about the global community and greater community, and to see like all of these people, that it almost feels like you are tapping in when Pluto moves finally into there. It's like this on, it's going to be this kind of journey into that place of like bringing the mystery into the collective in a way, for you personally somehow, probably for all of us in some way. But I think this is just kind of a forewarning, or like a, not even a warning, just to say like, it's okay. You don't have to be afraid when that comes up. It's not something to need to brush away or think is wrong or bad, or like, am I going crazy? Like, you don't even have to question yourself. It's kind of like, that's just this is what the subconscious does. Like, it's bringing forward all of this material, whether even from your life or from other lives, and it's okay. Like, you can just be like, figure out how to continue to sit in this stillness. I think that'll be a big part of what you're learning, is how to be comfortable in stillness, especially with this King of Swords coming through. So let's draw your final card. We're gonna use this deck. And this is going to look at what the integration and blessing of this level up and transformation is. I feel like I've seen a little bit of that already. Oh my gosh, this is so good. I'm gonna like read this little piece from about the ecstasy card, because it's literally exactly what I was saying at the beginning, and so perfectly ties in the emotional piece here. So it says, I'm not gonna read, there's multiple pages, but I'm just reading the first page. It says, when you're inspired by some great purpose, some extraordinary project, all thoughts break their bonds, potentially. What does it really mean to enjoy all aspects of life? What would it feel like to be in an ecstatic space of joy each day you're alive on this earth? If you have to do something, it is worth learning how to enjoy the very process of doing and being by meeting that experience with a blissful spirit. At times, the universe will accept counterfeit emotion for currency and will respond in kind. If you make the best of things you dislike but have been called to follow through with, your relationship with them will change. Take note of these changes and where you can find value in the lessons of playing pretend or living in the space of playfulness, flow, and being in joy. Where are you discovering genuine delight in the authentic reality of your emotions? That's such a great question for you to ask. I'll read it one more time. Where are you discovering genuine delight in the authentic reality of your emotions? I feel like that's the perfect thing to consider and to reflect on when you're experiencing this. Like, how do I actually delight in these experiences coming through that feel very scary or uncertain, or just making me feel a loss of control maybe? And with the authentic expression piece, like these coming through as the integration and as the blessing through this next level up and transformation, feel so aligned, because it's pointing to the fact that hold on, let me gather my thoughts for a second. It's like a bridge is happening between your material world and your emotions, and you're kind of finding a path forward of how to bring abundance almost into your emotional life in a way that you haven't been able to before, because you're tapping you're like coming more into your authentic expression, which cannot happen until you enter into the heart center, until you're able to find stillness. Like we cannot actually authentically express ourselves unless we are comfortable with all aspects of ourselves, right? Including the mysterious pieces, including the like shadow, scary parts of us. There was something in here that I thought was interesting. It talks about bringing the awareness into your body. By allowing your natural self to act freely, your limitless potential will organically express into your reality, and blessings of abundance will follow. And specifically needing to move from the head into the heart as well. So what feels really like is coming through this experience, through like moving through this key, right, of like embodying that person that is joyful in life, that is feeling satisfied in whatever they're creating, in their material ways that they're earning a living and progressing. And then it's drawing in these beautiful experiences and then pulling out from the shadow these maybe more confusing or disturbing emotions that have been locked away, probably very far locked away with that King of Swords there. And it's this opportunity, I'm just feeling like a dam breaking, and the blessings coming through it is like almost, if you thought that this felt good, like when you start allowing the lightness of this experience, the consciousness of this experience to meet what is unconscious, and like letting them come more together, it is like, it feels like a sacred opening into a whole new level of experiencing ecstasy and of expressing yourself. And I just feel like there is the support of this community here to like meet you where you're at. Although I don't know, like I do like that there's this card, this projections card, because it feels like you've moved beyond that need for projection. But be kind with yourself about who you share this information with, and make sure that they are trustworthy is what I would say. Especially if you're feeling really scared or nervous or tender about it, like make sure there's someone who is very comfortable in these kind of places, right? And is open about it, because they'll be solid for you to explore that with. But it just feels like this opportunity coming together where, yeah, that ecstasy can reach new heights, because it's actually now deeply, deeply incorporating a lot more of you, essentially, because it's like all of this material that maybe you haven't been able to face before until this time in your life. And it's just like, yeah, like opening the throat and allowing you to express more openly. It almost feels like in tandem, because you have this like beautiful sharing and connection through these people, it seems, in your environment, and then it's creating the safety here. So that's really great. I'm going to leave this here. I hope that this reading was supportive, or you got something helpful for you at this time through it. This was really great to channel. So thank you so much for being here today, and I hope to see you at another reading. Feel free to give me a like if you enjoyed this, or leave a little comment if this was really resonating for you especially, and hopefully I'll see y'all soon. Much love. Bye.